My name is Janette Houseman, and recently I presented a photo exhibition at the 64 Spring Street Gallery, where I exhibited 35 of my images, photos that were retrospective of over 10 years work. If you want to say one of my photos, actually it was about 20 years ago in Bahia. But all of my photos, and most of them were taken in Havana, Cuba, where I've been traveling and investigating through photography and other facets artistically since 1998. And you're going to see about at least 10 of my photographs. I would say this photograph, she was a wonderful rumbera, you call her rumbera. You see someone to her right who's dressed like a Yamaya, who's just like the, he might even have Santo Hecho. A lot of people have their necklaces and they've had their ceremonies to get initiated with the Santeria. This is in Havana, Cuba. It's in an area, it's in a cultural space called Callejón de Hamel of Salvador. This place is visited by a lot of people from artists from all over the world. One time I danced so much rumba, oh my God. And I went with my friend Chavela, who you guys have to get, you go to Cuba. I hope I inspire you to go to Cuba one day. This is an artist who's also a painter. And this year, I started off this year in January. I went in December, stayed for about a month. And this is someone who's giving a homage, presenting a homage to Yemaya, who's one of the Yoruban Orishas. This comes from Africa, not from Nigeria, which looks like my project is going to be approved. It's going to become true for the following year. So I'm delving in more into this Yoruban cultures. So he did this artist did a wonderful homage to Yemaya, and it was wonderful. This photograph, you see her with a cigar, Batala is the mother figure in the Yoruban Afro-Cuban religion. And she's with the water, you see her giving blessings to good health, happiness, and everything you desire in your life. So the Orisha is actually one of the religions of the Africas. Is commemorated in Brazil, in Bahia, in Nigeria. A lot of it has base in Nigeria, in Puerto Rico, and Cuba. This child is very special. This child is for a child that has African descent from the Costa Chica. A lot of people don't know this exists in Mexico. There are so many children that are so creative who are African descendants in the Costa Chica of Mexico. They've not read about their histories in the books because there's a lot of discrimination, a lot of racism. The children are so creative. They need to be told about who they are. And they're very, very, very creative. They dance, they sing. People come from all over. They have encuentros, they have gatherings. So all these children are being taught about who they are. People coming to give workshops and so forth from the States and from other countries. So this child is one of the children you might see if you go to the Costa Chica. Everybody knows that photograph. She could be involved with the Santeria, but she's just part of the Cuban life. She's part of the Cuban life, and in Cuba, it's what I fell in love about Cuba. And one time I want to stay. I didn't want to go back. I really have my community right there waiting for me to come back. And you see her full of life. You see her smile, you see her expression. With that calls poro in español, in Spanish. You see that cigar. You wouldn't think that they have a cigar so big, but actually. You feel a lot of Cuban warmth. A lot of Cubans are very warm. very warm people, have a great sense of spirituality and great sense of artistry. Well, here we have Doña Catalina, who I've met over the last number of years in the Costa Chica, full of life. I would say she's a healer. I would say that she was an important part of the Afro-Mestiza influence in Mexico. And she passed away a few years ago. You see her dancing in all the different cultural festivals and encuentros. And I had the great fortune to meet Doña Catalina, who I'm pretty sure is from San Nicolas, to be correct. That was her pueblo, which she's from. And actually, in Oaxaca, Guerrero, which is the southern part of Mexico, you find a lot of these African influenced pueblos. A lot of the Africans came over in the 16th century from all different parts of Africa, including the Congo. They spoke Bantu. They came from the Costa de Marfil, other parts of Africa, and they migrated. They came as slaves and they stayed. Creative child, a rumbera. Find her dancing. Probably go to Cuba, you'll probably find her. Took that photograph in 2005. She was what you call a rumbera, and she sure can dance. This is a tribute to Oya at the Casa de Yaruba that I went in 2005. Took a photograph of Oya. Danced Oya so beautifully. Has so much grace. Look at that expression. And Oya is one of the African orishas in the Santeria. So you're dancing with, looks like could be like a, not exactly like a fan, but she uses it as like a fan. It's like a horse's mane, and she dances. But she always wears very beautiful colors, and she's also always loved the fiesta, always full of life. So that's one of the important orishas in the Santeria. This photograph that you're looking at right now was one of the first photographs that I took in the Costa Chica, in Coyantes, when I did a project on the comparisons between Cuba and the Costa Chica, and I would show photographs to these young children. I taught them Rumba. They came looking for me 2 times a day. And actually, I showed them photographs in a little hand projector, and I taught them Rumba 2 times a day. And they would look at my photographs and say, "Oh my God, that looks like my cousin." Photographs I would show them of Cuba, and they could really relate to them. That's what it's all about. Demonstrating what we have in common with other cultures, such as Cuba, Costa Chica. Even in this country, we have so much of multicultural cultures. They demonstrate what we have in common and how we can work together, and how we're so much the same. One thing that I really feel, people say, okay, oh my God, Cuba has so much poverty and so forth. And I feel if you're an artist, if you're a person such as myself, you thrive on this kind of artistry, and I have my group of friends, but there's a sense in the friendships that I have developed in Cuba. A lot of them, most of my friends are artists. They're very spiritual people also. There's this great sense of human warmth. There's a great sense of solidarity, and I really found that to become one of my main communities in my life, because you get so involved. People, even in Mexico, unless you go to the coastal areas, people are so involved with egos, and they're involved with other kind of values, or not just about making a living, but you find a sense of coming together and bonding and solidarity, and a special kind of human warmth in the Cuban culture. I live with the people. I live with the people when I travel and do these projects. Maybe I can inspire all of you to come to Cuba and share that with me at some point. Let me feel people, if I've inspired the people to come, and we can share that experience. So.